Bond. James Bond.
Been like this all day.
Did you rub my lamp?
1,000 generations living here now.
Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of FilmSpeak Live. This is something that I guess we've just started doing every Saturday. I didn't really plan for it to be like this, but it's become a staple of our Saturdays. And listen, I am your host, as always, Griffin Schiller. And here at FilmSpeak, the conversation continues after the credits. And so if you want to be a part of that conversation and, join in our love of the movies and all that good stuff, you're definitely in the right place. So consider hitting that subscribe button. But I know a lot of you are regulars, so you don't have to worry about that. So just leave us a like, share the video with your other movie-loving friends, and just join us for a great time talking film. And so I don't do these alone. I do bring on special guests. And so as always, I have my partner in crime, Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Tyler, say hello to everyone.
With a capital T this time, I made sure to fix it.
I know. I actually, literally, right before we went live, I had to make sure that he had fixed that because I wasn't sure if it was going to be. Listen, that could have turned into a huge, huge debacle.
It would have sabotaged
capital T.
The entire live stream, but I fixed it, so we're good. It's going to be a great live stream now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kaleena, just so you all know, if you guys did join us last week, Kaleena will be joining us. She'll be joining us a little bit later on. But I do have Kristen. Yes, I do have a special guest, and her name is Kristen Maldonado. Kristen, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I messed up your intro a little bit. I was going to say all these nice things. I was like, oh, she's a fellow YouTuber. She's the social media manager at MTV. But I was just like, yes, I have a Kristen on the show.
I am
and that is
Kristen.
true. Yes. But anyways, so you're doing great and everything?
Yeah. I'm, trying to make it through. How are you guys doing?
Not bad.
I'm all right. It's just Saturday morning, drinking coffee, trying not to die. So that's great.
I hear you.
With everything. Yeah, for sure. So, just kind of get the ball rolling on stuff. I mean, guys, as always, be sure to leave your questions in the live chat and we will address them. If you want to get your question immediately answered, you can send in a super chat because it also helps out the channel, but it is not required. And so with that, let's go into what are some of the things you guys have been watching lately?
I just watched Blood and Water. I don't know if you guys checked that show out on Netflix.
I have not.
It's very interesting. It's like a South African show. I think the second one that they've done on Netflix. And it's about a girl who her sister was kidnapped at birth, and she finds out that there's a girl that kind of lives near her that she thinks actually might be that sister. And so she's trying to investigate, and it's very like aesthetically pleasing. Like, they're living in this very like rich area in South Africa that's just like beautiful looking. So it's a very interesting show. Definitely recommend it.
Where's it on?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix? Okay, cool.
Yeah, 6 episodes, very quick.
Okay, gotcha. It's probably like one of those ones that like dropped under the radar that like, they weren't pushing because they never do that. They're always just like, oh, here are all these great shows, but we're going to push Space Force, because Steve Carell is in it.
Did you guys watch it?
No, I had
seen it.
Yeah, I had the screeners like sitting in my Netflix account like for weeks, and I was just like, I really don't want to watch this.
I was really hoping that it was going to be good, and I was just disappointed. I don't know if maybe it'll be like The Office, where like, oh, the first season wasn't great, but it'll get better. But yeah, I kept being like, I just really want this to work, and I didn't like it,
and it didn't work. Yeah, I think my girlfriend was watching like the first episode, and I saw it in the background, and I was like, this seems really polished and forced. Like, I don't, like, no pun intended, but it was just like, I don't get what they're trying. This feels like NBC trying to make a new workplace sitcom immediately after The Office. Like, that's the kind of, like, content that we're dealing with. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, it's very, very different vibes from The Office. Like, it's not that whole, like, mockumentary where they actually sit and talk to the audience or anything. It's very, it feels like it's supposed to be, like, I don't know, just like more elevated, but it felt like they were trying to do something similar to The Office, but in a different style, like like not that sitcom-y type of like goofy
Yeah.
style. So
Yeah.
it just didn't really hit, I feel like. But
Yeah, and it missed that wit of The Office and like Greg Daniels and that's the thing is that Greg Daniels and Steve Carell are show running. They're like the co-creators of this show, and so you're like, okay, so it's going to be at least well written, right? I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, not really.
mean-
From what I've seen, and I've only seen like parts of the first episode, so
And like Greg Daniels, like that guy's busy. He had to upload this month too, and that I thought was
Oh, I
I
forgot
thought that was a
about
lot better than this one actually. Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. But have any of you guys kind of like taken the plunge into HBO Max yet?
Not yet. Have you guys?
No.
No, I was too busy with. I finished Fitting Jacob, which was really good. I like that one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
yeah.
Apple has another show called Mythic Quest. Really good. Really, really funny. No, I don't think a lot of people have seen it. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but that was really good.
Mhm.
And I just started a show on Hulu called Rami. It's really funny.
Oh,
Oh
I've heard about that.
yeah. Rami's yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
Hulu's
the
like killing it.
one, right?
I think they co-produce it as well. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure they do.
yeah.
But it's really good. But yeah, HBO Max, man, I want to dive into it, but there's so much content right now. I'm just gonna have to have to
Right?
wait.
It's just like
So much.
too much to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I like I haven't watched anything on HBO Max, but like just quickly like kind of browsing through it. They have my $15 a month solely off of their classic movie selection alone. Like it's unparalleled. Like I have not seen and it's not even probably, it's definitely because of their they own TCM and all that stuff like that. But you're kind of going through here and you're just like, Warner Brothers made some of the best classic movies of all time. Like they just flat out did. And so the fact that they have such an extensive and incredible catalog of like classic cinema and like auteur cinema, I think is great. And that's something that like I am definitely interested in diving into. And it's a nice, I think, companion piece to if you have like the Criterion channel,
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I was surprised at the amount of classic movies they had on there.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and then actually, this kind of ties into one of the questions we have from John Early, who asks, I'd like to know your thoughts on HBO Max not being available on Roku and Amazon streaming devices at launch. Is that a deal breaker for you guys? Well, I'm an Apple TV guy, so I don't have to worry about that, but it is bizarre that it wouldn't be available for that, especially because, like, Amazon is, like, one of, if not the largest company in the world, and there are so many people who have Fire TVs and Fire Sticks. So, like, why would it not be? It's so weird that it wasn't like ready to go on those devices. But I don't know, Kristen, do you have any thoughts and opinions on this?
Do we know? Is it never going to go there, or it's just not ready yet?
I actually don't know. I'm like kind of ignorant to this, but like I assume that it will eventually go on there. It's just like at launch, it's not currently,
The only thing I can think of is like, I wonder, is there something with like HBO Max, the companies that they work with, are they under the same umbrella as, if they have that, it's on Apple TV. So like, is Apple TV the same company or, under similar companies, and that's why it's there? Or is it just not going to ever go to those ones? So I'm not like too up to speed. I don't have Roku. So,
I don't either.
But it is kind of like weird. But I guess can you also just watch it on your computer? Like if you were to sign in, maybe?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I guess there's options.
Yeah, for sure. And if you had like an HDMI port on your computer, you could just like hook it into your TV, which I know is like a hassle, but at least you can do that. I don't know, Tyler, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I usually just watch stuff on my laptop, so it's really never a problem. But it is kind of annoying though that usually whenever a new streaming service does come out, this does happen quite a bit. Unless you have like Apple TV, I feel like Apple TV usually gets everything, which is great. But I know like the room I'm renting right now has a Roku TV, which thankfully comes with most stuff, but not HBO Max. So it is kind of annoying sometimes. It's like, what's the deal? Why can't we just get all the apps in one place?
And especially if you can get HBO, like HBO Go.
Yeah, I get HBO Go and HBO Now, but not HBO Max. Which
that's weird then.
That's bizarre. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah. It makes no sense. I have heard that there's like a back, like kind of like a hack to get in. Like if you have HBO Max through Hulu, then you can sign into Hulu using that, and then you can get some of the content. I guess will pop up on there. But still, it's like you shouldn't have to do that for like a streaming service you're paying like, gosh, I don't know, like $15-16 a month for, and all that stuff. But anyways, yeah, it is just a very weird sort of instance that it wasn't ready to go on those platforms. Okay, Tony Movie Chappie D9 Neil Blomkamp, #1 fan, asks, I just watched The Big Year last night. Very underrated movie. You guys should definitely check it out. Tyler, have you seen The Big Year?
Is that the one with Steve Martin and Jack Black? I gotta look that up real quick because
I've never
pretty
seen
sure I've seen that before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while you're
Yeah,
it
it
is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird movie, but it's all right.
I have not seen it. So, Kristen, have you seen it?
I have not, but I do like Jack Black a lot, so maybe I'll have to write that one down and check it out.
What is your favorite Jack Black movie?
Oh man, I would say, probably School of Rock because it's such a classic. You know, it's
good.
like
You can stay then. That's all I was looking for.
But yeah, that's a classic one, and I do love the Tenacious D movies.
Yeah.
I love when he sings. I'm a sucker for his like little musical things that he does. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anytime he gets a chance to just be like over the top and theatrical is just, it's amazing. It's great. I mean, Tyler and I are always saying like he should have been nominated for an Academy Award for School of Rock because he was just that good.
It was.
So,
yeah.
It's funny. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the impact of that film too. Like, it jump-started a lot of careers, and like they turned it into a Broadway musical. It became a Nickelodeon TV show a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's still, I think it's still going. They could definitely do something, bring it back, or do something with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, but if you're to believe, the thing going around that he's saying like, oh, I'm done acting, then.
Oh, I don't think I heard that.
Well, I think, what was it, like after Jumanji 2, he was kind of saying like, I'm kind of done doing movies for, I not for a little bit. He was like, I don't know if I'll ever go back and do like another movie. Like he said he might do TV, but
oh wow,
I think he's kind of done, which is really sad because it's like we remember him as in being all these things, but he hasn't done anything in the last like decade or I don't know, last like 5 years or so.
Oh, I guess. I mean, he did the Goosebumps movies, and then he did the Jumanji movies, and I love the Jumanji movies. I would love to see them do another one.
Yeah,
actually. Especially, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the end credit scene of the new one kind of hinted at, maybe coming out into the real world, and I'm like, that would have been so cool. I would love to see that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'd almost have rather them do that for the second one than like what we actually got. The second one was a little iffy on because I just felt like it was kind of repeating the same thing as the first, but like they still have my money for a third Jumanji movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm totally there for sure. So yeah, I'd be curious to see how they could do that and bring back like, The Rock and like Karen Gillan and Jack Black and all them, because they are the game characters. So it's like, okay, interesting. How does that work?
And then they'd actually, I feel like each movie they kind of like take on a little bit more of like different characters, and like the first one, you got the main kids that they became, and then in the second one, we got to see them be the grandpas and stuff. And I feel like if they did a third one, then they would have to be like the actual characters themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
I know people were like, about the second movie, but I don't know. I loved it so much. There's just something about it. I was like, this is the best. I just had so much fun with it.
Yeah, no, I totally understandable, because it's like it really feels the void for like adventure movies, which we just don't get anymore for whatever reason. So no, I totally get it. I think it's a fun time for sure. Okay, so Blaze Sawyer asks, what movie has emotionally affected you more than any other film? For me, it's A Ghost Story. A Ghost Story is that's a pretty emotional movie. I actually tried watching the other day and then turned it off because I was like, I don't really want to go down this road right now. But that's a good question. I don't know. Tyler, do you have an answer to that one?
I mean, I know I have a better answer, but like off the bat, I mean, I love Titanic. It's one of my favorite movies ever. So that's a good one. But like recent, it's not a movie, but TV wise, Normal People on Hulu, amazing.
Oh yeah,
absolutely incredible. One of the most realistic portrayals of a relationship I've ever seen on anything, and that was pretty moving. Yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's so good, so great. I'd probably say that's the most recent thing.
Yeah. Kristen, do you have a go-to for that one?
I don't know if I have like an overall like of all time, but I will say that the movie that I watched recently that really like hit me in the feels was Onward.
Oh
No,
yeah,
that's a great choice.
Yeah, that was a
Great
great
choice.
choice. No, that
I
was a
cried
good.
like
Yeah.
3 times. I was like, the brotherhood, you know. I'm like, why do these stories of like brotherhood or like found families and stuff like that just like they get me? I don't know why.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
No, that's totally fair. Oh God, what? I'm like, I know there are so many out there. I mean, A Star Is Born like really hit me in the feels when I saw that. Like, I cried. I just sat in the like theater like defeated after I saw that. I
About
feel
Time.
like
That's a good one.
yeah, About Time is a good one. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard on the spot. I'm just like, oh gosh.
Right.
But anyways, okay. So I Am Phil. What movie do you think could be done bigger? Could be done better with a bigger budget? Interesting. Because I don't always think that a bigger budget means a better movie. Just look at The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the best movie to have come out this year. And that movie had like a shoestring budget. And all the stuff that they were able to do with that film is like mind blowing. So I don't know if I don't think budget dictates the quality of a film. What do you guys think?
I agree with that. I think that, you know, especially who was it recently? Like M. Night Shyamalan has done a lot of movies where like the budget's like purposely small, but like they're really good. So I don't know if I could think of any off the top of my head that I think would have maybe benefited from that, but I think, you know, it's really more about like the team that's putting something together and what
Sure,
they do with what they have kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, do you have one that comes to mind, or do you just not even?
No, I mean, I agree. That was
Yeah.
that was a great example of M. Night Shyamalan because I love him. He's one of my favorite directors, and like when he gets a bigger budget, his movies tend to usually not be as well received. So him going back to the smaller budget was probably a good career turn. And usually, yeah, like The Invisible Man. Yeah, I think a smaller budget can be better sometimes. It can be more creative.
I think it's interesting because you mentioned Shyamalan. I actually think Glass may have been better with a little bit more money because, like, for what they tried to do, it just felt really small and like anticlimactic in a lot of ways. And so, I think if they were able to like do some like bigger stunts or just kind of like open up the world a little bit more, that movie maybe would have been slightly better. I still don't think it would have affected the overall outcome, but it was just like a weird instance of them trying to do big superhero spectacle on a shoestring budget, and they weren't making it work for them. So I think that's really the only example that I can think of where I'm like, maybe a couple extra, you know, I don't know, thousands of millions of dollars would have helped with this one. But then again, there's better use of that money. So okay, Josephine DeMarco asks, Griffin, Tyler, Kristen, in honor of Space Force and Take 2 of the launch today. Oh, I guess the SpaceX launch is happening today. What are your favorite space movies? Kristen, we'll start with you.
That is a good question. I'm trying to think, like, what space movies are like, I mean, does this count as a space movie? Space Jam?
I mean, like, it can't. There's aliens in there, sure. We don't, like, yeah. And a space in the title, yeah.
They come on down
sure.
and they, you know, take over the basketball court, you know. So
yeah.
I think that's a pretty fun one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. You know, I love like a humorous movie and that
Sure.
kind of combined aliens from space with the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan and kind of all these iconic things. So yeah, I think
It's
that's
great.
definitely one of my favorites.
Well, let me ask you this: are you more of a Space Jam fan, or are you more of a Looney Tunes Back in Action fan?
Oh, probably Space Jam, just because I don't like know if I've watched the other one as much.
Yeah,
but
for
now
sure.
I might need to do that this weekend, and then maybe I'll have a different answer.
Yeah, have yourself like a little Looney Tunes marathon for sure. It's on
Yeah.
Netflix, so it's
Oh, okay, I'll
There you
definitely
go.
have to watch it then.
yeah.
Although, how long
Anyway-
will it be on Netflix with now that all the Looney Tunes stuff right is on HBO
oh,
Max?
that's a good point.
They might
Yeah,
move it.
I don't know.
So watch it
All
now.
right, Tyler. Yeah, watch it now before it goes. Tyler, what is your favorite space movie?
Can I say two? I'm going to cheat.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right, First Man is probably my favorite. I really love that movie.
Yeah.
Mainly because Damien Chazelle, but I love The Martian too with Matt Damon. Like those are two really really good ones.
The Martian's one I go back and forth on because it's like I love it, but like I don't love it as much as everyone else loves it. And so I think because everyone else loves it more than me, I'm just kind of like, well, I don't know, it's okay. But I mean, it's a great movie, no, for sure. We do have Kaleena. Okay, this is perfect. Kaleena is now here, so say hello, everyone. To Kaleena.
Hi.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Actually, this is perfect because now you can answer this question. What is your favorite space movie? Or movies that take place in space? Of all time.
Does that can we say Star Wars? Does that count? Or
no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to say Star Wars.
Fine. Interstellar or Space Odyssey. I won't pick between the two.
Okay, that's fine because I was gonna say 2001: Space Odyssey for sure is one. Oh, and I'll agree with Tyler on First Man. First Man kind of just
I love First Man. I do.
Yeah, for sure. So again, guys, send in your questions. We will try and get to all of them or as many as we can. If you want to get it immediately answered, you can use the super chat option. It also helps support the channel, but it is not required. So, anyways, going into the next question. Oh, geez, lost it there. Woo. Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay. So Dennis S says, rewatch the MI movies this week inspired by Tyler. So thanks. Well, there you go, Tyler, having an effect on people. What are your two favorite Mission Impossible movies? Kaleena, let's start with you.
Oh man, that's hard because the Macquarie vehicles have been so good, and I feel like really have kind of set like a new bar for the Mission movies. I will say the one that got me like definitively into the franchise, where I no longer wanted to miss one of them when they came out in theaters, was Ghost Protocol. I was just so impressed. If I'm not mistaken, I think Brad Bird did that one. I was just dazzled by that movie. I think we're supposed to say that 3 is the best by default, right? Because Philip Seymour Hoffman and I love JJ's Mission. I really do. I might go with. Oh God, this is hard. Okay, Ghost Protocol, and then this is maybe controversial. I actually prefer Rogue Nation to Fallout. I think
that is controversial.
I think that the introduction of Ilsa in Rogue Nation was just so masterfully done, and I just love that entire sequence at the opera house and that shot when she like props her leg up with the dress and the gun. It's just like very sexy and cool. And Fallout's amazing. Like it's not like Fallout was a downgrade by any means, but I just really kind of like the Ilsa origin story there. So I guess I'll go with those two.
Sure, for sure. Kristen, what about you?
I'm going to say something very controversial, which is that I have not seen any of the Mission Impossible movies.
That is wild. Holy crap.
That's awesome.
That's honestly, it is, because now you could just experience them all at once. Like, it's great.
Yeah,
but,
so I guess I'm going to have to do that. Maybe that's a future video collab with you guys.
There you go. Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
For sure. I'll tell you what, if you want to talk to someone who knows their Mission Impossible and is an absolute fan boy over it, Tyler's your guy. Tyler's the Mission Impossible fan.
You're going to love Mission Impossible too. It's great. It's great.
Well, I don't know about all that. Tyler, what are your top 2 MI films?
So for me, number 2 is Ghost Protocol. Then 1 is Fallout. To me, Fallout's the best action movie of all time. Like I love that movie so much. I think it should have been like nominated for so many Oscars.
You could have made an argument. Yeah, you definitely could have, for sure.
At least for I mean, like I saw some people saying Cruise should have been nominated for best actor. I don't know. No. I don't know about that, but like everything on like a technical level, for sure. I mean, I don't know how they pulled off some of those things that they did in that movie. So Fallout for sure is my favorite.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, absolutely. It's kind of hard not to go with Fallout. I mean, that movie the fact that McQuarrie was able to change his style, like, and purposefully so much from Rogue Nation to Fallout is mind blowing. And I don't know. I felt like Fallout actually tried to do some stuff with like Ethan as a character, which leads into my number 2, which would be MI3, which is the only other movie that tries to do stuff with Ethan as a character. And again, Philip Seymour Hoffman, best villain out of the entire series. JJ actually has his direction in that movie is amazing. Like that movie moves, it hauls ass from the beginning. So I love it. Yeah, those two, but they're all fun. You know, my biggest issue with Rogue Nation is that it's forgettable to me. Like I never like. For whatever reason, I just don't come back to it, and I never like remember the sequence of events in it. But
I love the motorcycle chase in Rogue Nation.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, for sure. I definitely
awesome.
remember that. But yeah, no, Fallout and then MI3 for sure. Thank you for the question. Okay, deep in the film's core, what are your thoughts on each Zack Snyder movie? There's 8 movies. Okay, we're not going to go through each Zack Snyder movie, but we are going to give you our. We'll do our favorite Zack Snyder movie. Kristen, let's start with you. Do you have a favorite Zack Snyder movie?
I would say, like, that he directed.
Yeah. That he directed.
Yeah. Maybe Sucker Punch.
Really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was like a very like, I don't know. It was just like a very like interesting kind of like psychological, actiony. Like there was a lot going on there.
For sure.
I will say, I hate Man of Steel. So yeah, I think if I have to pick one, I would go with Sucker Punch.
Go Sucker Punch. Interesting. Well, I like that it's a different answer because you for this one I feel like everyone usually gives the same answer, so I definitely appreciate that one. Tyler, what's your pick for favorite Zack Snyder?
I'm embarrassed. It's Man of Steel.
I'm sorry, I hate your
No, you're good. You're good. I really like that movie, but I also like Dawn of the Dead too. That's a really good one too. But Man of Steel is my favorite. It's one of my favorite DC movies, so it might be my favorite DC movie. So yeah, I gotta go with Man of Steel.
Yeah, for sure. Man of Steel is, I think, it's one of my favorite comic book films of all time. But again, it's a movie that's like if you hate it and you don't like it, I 100% understand. Zack Snyder's just one of those filmmakers. I mean, he's so divisive and polarizing. So like you'll either love it or you hate it. But Kaleena, what's your number one?
So this should say so much. I had to pull up his IMDb page because I didn't know if I could even name like more than 2 Zack Snyder films.
Don't worry, I had to too.
I think it's hilarious. He directed Legends of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, which I don't know if any of you have seen 30 Rock, but it just makes me think of Matt Damon's like obsession with that movie in the show. So I want to watch Matt Damon, not because of any actual like artistic integrity behind it. Man, so not only have I not seen like half of his movies, but the ones that I have seen, I have not seen in so long. I vaguely remember being impressed by his Watchmen movie.
Yeah.
But, I don't think I could tell you one scene that happens in that movie. So I think 300 is overrated. Sorry, not sorry.
I agree.
Oh my God.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But is it really like that good? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
it's not.
Look, a girl can be really pretty, but if she doesn't have personality, what's left beyond the surface? That's kind of how I feel about it.
Oh my gosh, guys.
So,
breaking me with this one.
I guess like by default, I have to choose Man of Steel. And to Kristen's point, I don't really like Man of Steel. I don't think it's as good as everyone else does. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's a good movie either. I think it's just kind of somewhere in the middle. I think it's an important foundation for the world that Snyder was trying to build. But I've never once had the desire to sit down and watch it since it came out.
Sure.
So
Wow.
Man of Steel is my answer.
Guys, I mean, wow, you guys are really going out of your way to break me. But it's totally fine. Like Zack Snyder is just that kind of filmmaker for sure. I think for me, it's Watchmen. Just like nothing else that he's made has really just been as interesting. And this like I feel like with Watchmen, especially the director's cut for sure, as with any of Snyder's movies, it's like that was basically what he was trying to do with his like DC universe, like make a comment on like, you know, the politics of real world and stuff like that. And like Watchmen is the perfect source material for that, obviously. And so like his adaptation I thought was different enough but still respectful to the original source material, and even a lot of it just feels like ripped directly from the panels of that. So while I do think that HBO's Watchmen series is definitely better because it's not a literal like translation, it's more of like taking the themes and motifs that are explored in there and then bringing it, you know, exploring it in a different way. I think that his Watchmen movie is still excellent, and I don't think it gets enough credit for as good as it is. So that would be my my pick. Okay,
if I remembered it, I think it would be my pick. I haven't seen it since it came out, so I don't have like a clear memory of it.
It's worth a rewatch. It really is. It's a 3-hour long movie, so if you got an extra 3 hours, like, you know, hanging around, it's definitely it's worth it. Yeah, right. I mean, we're all doing nothing, so. Anyways, so Eli Tyler, since I'm watching the King of Comedy later today, I was wondering what some of your guys' favorite Scorsese movies are. Okay, Kaleena is like chomping at the bit to answer this question, so we'll start with her.
Okay, I have my degree in Martin Scorsese. Okay, it's unofficial, but he's my number one. Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time. Okay, so that's my default answer. But sure. I don't think it's his best work as a director, which makes sense to no one. I think modern Scorsese, I think Hugo is grossly underrated. It is so good. It is such a beautiful film. I think most people want to say that Wolf of Wall Street is his best directed film, which it is. It's crazy and obscene and so much fun, and sometimes I can't believe that it came from his brain. But King of Comedy is also a great one. And
King of Comedy's genius,
Streets is so good. I even like New York, New York with Liza Minnelli. I don't think anyone's really seen that. Mm-hmm. So are we picking our number one Scorsese or like top three?
If you only had to pick one, and obviously I guess for you it would be Goodfellas.
It would be Goodfellas, yeah.
Okay, all right. Kristen, what about you?
I think I would go with Shutter Island. I love
love Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love a psychological thriller, you know, so I love a mystery, and this one's like, you know, they just keep adding those layers and layers of like, oh my God, what is happening? So I love stories like that, so definitely Shutter Island for me.
I agree, and that's honestly, I'd say outside of Silence, that's probably his most underrated movie of like the past decade.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure. Tyler, what's your favorite?
For me, it's The Departed. I think it's one of the best picture wins of all time. I really love that movie. My
guy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, The Departed is my favorite as well. That's not only my favorite Scorsese, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I think it'd be my number two. And it's I think I publicly declare last week that Departed is my favorite Best Picture winner.
I think you did.
I think you may have. Yeah.
So
I do want to say
you said it was Green Book, I thought.
I would never fucking say that, ever. Dare you saying that.
I do want to say, though, I think more people need to watch Silence. If you want to understand, like, Scorsese as a filmmaker and just, like, a person, I think the two movies that you need to watch are Silence and weirdly enough, The Irishman, I think, especially the last act of The Irishman, it perfectly ties into the stuff that goes on there. So if you have not seen Silence, I'm assuming most of you have seen The Irishman, but if you have not seen Silence, go watch it, because Andrew Garfield was robbed of an Oscar nomination, and the film was robbed of many other accolades as well. So
everyone loves Adam Driver now, and they can figure out that he was in this amazing movie. 2016 I think that came out, or 17?
Yeah.
I love when you watch a movie and you like go back and you're like, oh wow, all of these people are like so huge now. I can't believe that I didn't like recognize this then, that they were going to be so big.
Yeah, there's so many like early 2000s like comedies or like ensemble, like
the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Everybody.
Yeah.
You're all huge now.
I know, it's hilarious to see all of them in there, but go watch Silence. That's all I have to say. If you take nothing else away from this live stream, watch Silence.
Watch Silence.
Okay, Miller Time 1989 asks, this was a fun movie question me and my buddies discussed. Better decade for movies, 90s versus 2010s. Completely different. That's why we found it to be a fun convo. Love hearing your guys' thoughts and content. Well, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Okay, so I guess if we're just comparing decades, then he's saying which is a better decade for film, the 90s or the 2010s. I just right off the bat, I'm just going to say the 2010s. I think we got more, I feel like cinema really just like advanced and evolved as a medium during the 2010s. Like more independent films and, socially important movies were made and, like beloved and received accolades and whatnot. Like Parasite wouldn't have been a Best Picture winner in the 90s. Moonlight wouldn't have been a Best Picture winner in the 90s, and like films like Mad Max Fury Road came out. Movies like Skyfall, the Mission Impossible films, the MCU like basically lived in the 2010s, and so it's like when you take into account all of that, on top of like all of like the prestige movies and like the amazing cinematic achievements of the time, I don't know, I think I just look back on the 2010s and I'm just like, it's really tough to find another decade that just like exploded the way that it did. But that's kind of my quick thoughts on that. I don't know, Kristen, how about you?
This is a hard one. This is really hard. I think you made a lot of great points, especially about movies like Parasite that were just so like brilliant, and that I feel like especially like nowadays, like we're able to, I think especially with like streaming platforms and stuff, we're able to really like get exposed to films that maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to back in the 90s, things from other countries, but from different cultures that are like so brilliant. But also like I was looking up some of the 90s movies and I'm like, oh, but I really liked, 10 Things I Hate About You, Clueless, Jumanji. And it's interesting because I think that there's a lot of movies that came from the 90s or, a whole bunch of earlier time periods that now we're doing again now anyway. So it's sort of like, I think now we're really kind of able to be more inclusive and expose people to different types of films. But also I think that there were some really just like solid storytelling in the 90s that, that we're remaking those movies now, that those stories are still so powerful that we want to see them again in like in different ways. So
sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but yeah. I'm gonna say I like both, but I do think that there's a lot of really great movies out now.
For sure. Okay, so you would go 2010s then?
Yes.
Slightly edging it out.
Sure.
For sure. Okay, Tyler, what's your pick for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go 2010s. And the 90s were great for sure. Like Shawshank, American Beauty, Pulp Fiction, like so many great movies. But 2010s, if I break down my top 20 movies of all time, there's quite a few from the 2010s, like more than I thought when I was breaking it down in my head. So I have to go 2010s for sure.
Yeah,
well, I'm thrilled to be on the other side of it then. I agree with all of your points, and that's almost kind of why I'm going with the 90s. Not only was 90s like the rise of action cinema, which is so important. Where would we be without like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and yeah, it started in the 80s too, but I feel like 90s was just like, this is maybe not good to say, but I kind of love like macho cinema. Like you want break and the stuff like that. And I love that from the 90s, and kind of almost opposite to your point, Tyler. If I list my 10, 15, 20 films, so many of them are from the 90s. And the 90s were also like, it was a very gritty time for films, It was darker. We kind of pushed the envelope with some stuff, and you can even like Tarantino and Fincher, just to kind of name a couple. But then like you were saying, Kristen, you have like The Clueless and you have The 10 Things I Hate About You. So it's rom-coms and it's action films and it's Fight Club and it's Forrest Gump, and there's just so much that, like you were kind of saying, has really set the tone, and we are rebooting stuff. And I completely agree that the 2010s has allowed us to like advance and dive into socially important things. I totally agree on the points of Parasite and everything. And Inception, Social Network, I think we're on the same page there. But I think that I'll say that 90s is kind of like foundational teachings for how we were able to move forward in cinema. I think if a lot of movies in the 90s hadn't existed, we wouldn't be able to have the privilege to be at the point in terms of like filmmaking and storytelling where we're at today. So I'm going to go with
I agree with Kaleena, and I changed my side to the 90s side because I was kind of like saying both, but I think what you're saying, the foundations of a lot of things came from these earlier films. So
that's you made a very compelling. I think that is a good point. It's not going to change my answer, but I see where you're coming from, and I think it is true. Like there's the 90s had like a certain breed of like action films that you just like, it's nice to when we get like throwbacks to that, like Extraction, for instance, I thought was like a nice throwback to like the 90s action films for sure. Again, great points. Both just great decades for film. And I will say, I think 2010s definitely gets the proper amount of praise for the quality of cinema. I think the 90s gets overlooked sometimes, unfortunately. But it was, both incredible decades. Again, guys, keep sending your questions in. That was a really great one, so thank you for that. That was amazing. Okay, Josephine DeMarco asks, which actor would you want to be your teacher or professor? Tyler, we'll start with you.
I probably.
I already know where he's gonna go with this.
No, I mean, like, I love Chazelle, Damien Chazelle, because he's so young and I love what he's doing. He's my favorite working director right now. But I'd probably go Spielberg. I think he's the greatest director of all time, and like he's like, the man is just, he knows how to make a movie in every single genre, and he's just a legend. I mean, it's such a basic answer, but I'd have to go Spielberg.
Wait, it's actor though, right?
Oh, is it actor or director?
I thought it said actor.
Well, we can open it up to actor, director.
If it's actor.
Different question.
Oh, my bad.
Okay,
Sorry,
all right,
actor.
all right.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
I that's why I said I knew your answer.
100%. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was director. Yeah, Tom Cruise.
So, Tom Cruise. Okay,
Yeah.
Kaleena, what's your answer for that
Oh
one?
man, well, kind of like a fun trivia tidbit is that I turned down a full ride at the University of Texas, and in the film department, I would have had McConaughey as one of my teachers, and they also do like a speaker series. So like Scorsese has taught for a semester at that school. They've had Robert Rodriguez and stuff, so I could have had quite a few. For actor though, Tom Cruise is a great answer, but I kind of got that already with my thing in 2015. I feel like Leo would be like a shitty speaker. Like I feel like he would be not good at giving lectures, but he's definitely the psyche that I think I'd be most interested in diving into. Because not only is he one of my favorite actors, but I personally don't think he's limited himself to a specific genre. I don't think he's really been put into a mold in Hollywood, which is really hard to avoid, especially because he started out so young. Or maybe De Niro. That's kind of a well-rounded answer, right? The guy just has so much.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It would be kind of like a no bullshit approach. I think actually I'll switch it. I'll go with De Niro.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Kristen?
I think the actor that I would want to be my professor, is that what it is?
Yeah, to be a
would be, I think, America Ferrera. I feel like she has had such an interesting career. Everything from like indie films to, mainstream stuff, television. And I think that she also, is a really strong activist. And I just feel like she's someone that you'd learn a lot from, and that has just like probably experienced a lot in Hollywood. And, representing for the Latinas out there, So I think that she would be someone that seems like would be really interesting to talk to. I feel like she's like just would have a lot of knowledge about like a lot of things in the world and in Hollywood and entertainment.
No, that's a good pick for sure. Fuck, I don't even know. I really don't. I'm like,
Hoffman would be a good choice too, I think.
Who would be?
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman for sure. Yeah, you're right. It's like, do you want to go with someone with like legacy, or do you want to go with like someone younger who like can help you navigate like the industry now?
Right.
Then it becomes like super tough in that regard. I don't know.
If you say like Michael B. Jordan, I'm leaving this.
I was literally thinking Michael B. Jordan. I genuinely was.
That's why I said it. I'm like, I know exactly who he's thinking of.
I was thinking. Oh yeah. I mean, like I don't know. That's really tough. I'm gonna pass on that one. Sorry guys, that sucks. So I really can't think of one. It's Leo's a great choice. Javier Bardem also I think is a great choice.
What about Daniel Day-Lewis?
He's so stiff, dude. Like,
yeah,
he would start going to sonnet about performance art, and then he would start making shoes for the class. No.
Hey, Brad Pitt would be fun.
I don't know if I'd learn anything from Brad.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd be hanging out. That's why it'd be fun.
You just reminded me of Fight Club. Edward Norton, I think, would actuly be phenomenal.
Ooh,
I think he'd be he'd be dedicated. He'd push you. He wouldn't take bullshit. He's like an accomplished actor and can help like navigate like the industry for sure, like in the current climate. So, Yeah, he would. Yeah, I think that would be a good one for sure. Great
I think,
question.
too, I also think he's not alive. Philip Seymour Hoffman would be a great choice. I think you can learn so much from him.
That's
Yes.
the answer. That's the
Yes,
answer.
that's
So
the
good.
answer. All right, so we're gonna move. Yeah, so Philip Seymour Hoffman for sure. That's the answer. Okay. Dennis S asks favorite DreamWorks movie, Kung Fu Panda for me. Kristen, we will start with you.
Oh gosh, DreamWorks movie. Is Shrek DreamWorks?
Yes.
I mean, it's gotta
yeah.
be Shrek, right? Shrek is like iconic. Yeah. How many movies are there? Like 10? 10 Shrek
I don't
movies?
know. I don't know for sure how many they have, but yeah, Shrek is. I mean, yeah.
And then just like a side one that's like, I don't think anyone else would pick this, but I grew up with Captain Underpants, and they made that movie,
yeah,
and I was
sure.
like, me and my dad went to go see it because we were like nostalgia, like that was my childhood, so probably
Captain
those two.
Underpants. Too many
really
people
good.
slept on that film. Actually, it was
did.
like surprisingly good. Yeah.
It felt so authentic to the books. Even the whole, I don't know if you guys read the books, but the whole like you put your hand on the page and you flip it, and then it's like making your own flip book. They did that in the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, for sure.
Memories.
Yeah. Tyler, what's your pick for that one?
I mean, I should go Shrek because I love Shrek so much, but How to Train Your Dragon, man. I just love How to Train Your Dragon so much. So I got to go with those.
Yeah,
Three.
that's
Really
tough.
good.
And then Kaleena, is yours Shrek?
Oh my god, Shrek for sure. It's the first thing I thought of. You know what else I love about DreamWorks? And I hope this is not a fact that I have like randomly have totally wrong. But I always forget that DreamWorks is associated with Amblin, and so I just like thinking that like Steven Spielberg is involved in Shrek in some way. That just brings me.
That's funny.
Steven Spielberg's Shrek.
Release the Spielberg cut of Shrek.
Oh God, I don't want to see that. No one wants to see that. He brought up Kung Fu Panda is really good. I actually think that's probably their most underrated like trilogy of films. I think all three of them are equally excellent. How to Train Your Dragon is obviously like a masterpiece and whatnot, but I'm gonna go with an outside pick. I'm gonna go with The Prince of Egypt. The Prince of Egypt is literally like one of the most like slept on like hand drawn animated films ever. Like, and it doesn't even matter if like you're religious or not. I mean, I remember like watching it in like Bible groups as a kid, but like it's just one of those films that's just like it doesn't even feel like it was made for kids. Like it has such a mature and thoughtful approach and jaw-dropping animation. I love it. I not enough people have seen it, so Prince of Egypt for me. And that's another one that was in the 90s, so maybe the 90s is a better decade.
I miss too, like especially the earlier DreamWorks movies, like they're kind of edgy for kids. Like I think Shrek has like 2 curse words in it. I'm pretty sure, and I'm like that. I feel like that would never happen today, like in any animated movie. Maybe.
I think they're actually DreamWorks is pretty progressive. I don't know if you guys have watched She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix, but that's a DreamWorks TV series.
Is it really?
And it's super progressive. They have like non-binary characters and realistic body shapes, and it's just very empowering. It's definitely like. I feel like DreamWorks is always kind of pushing the boundaries, but like in a very positive way. So definitely recommend checking that out too if you haven't seen it. I think they've done like 5 seasons.
Yeah. Well, and they're I know She-Ra's on Netflix, and then what is it? Like Voltron's also on Netflix too, which a lot of people love. So yeah, no, for sure. I think that's DreamWorks. They don't get enough. I don't think they get enough credit when it comes to just like the stuff that they put out for sure. Okay, let's see. Deep in the film score, 5 Oscar categories that should be removed. Well, I don't think there are 5 Oscar categories that should be removed. First of all, I think they need to add. They need to kind of like restructure and add in a few. I can't remember if I said this on the last stream, but I said that they need to incorporate voice acting and performance capture into the main acting categories, because it's acting. Like it's all the same, I mean, there are different approaches to acting, but at the end of the day, it is acting, it's performance, and so it needs to be recognized as that. The other one that I would add in there is stunt performance, obviously, and then ensemble cast. But in terms of taking one out, I don't think that I don't think there should be any categories removed at all. I don't know, Kaleena, what do you think about this?
No, because I don't necessarily think this was the person who asked. I don't think this was their intention, but to remove a category implies that that person should no longer be rewarded for their work, and I think that's really
Right.
weird and goes in reverse. So no, I wouldn't, because even people who are like, oh, who cares about documentary short? Well, the people who made the documentary short care about documentary short, and those films are often really important and really make a lot of changes to society. So no, I wouldn't remove anything.
Yeah, for sure. Kristen?
No, I definitely agree. And I like the ones that you said that you would add. I think that those are definitely ones where it's like, yeah, we are like, there are so many different elements of making a movie. Like they should all have like their moments of being recognized, you know?
For
Yeah,
sure.
so definitely
Tyler?
agree.
Yeah, there are a few. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. There are a few I would probably take out, but for the most part, I do like most of them. Yeah.
Well, no, I am curious. Which ones would you take out, or would you move it to like the other night, where they have like the technical awards or stuff like that?
I mean, like, I'm just gonna be honest. The shorts, I never see them. I never watch them, and whenever it gets to that part of the show, it slows down for me. But they are important for sure. It's awesome that they get recognition, but I've just never. Maybe what they need to do is make the shorts more accessible to people. I know they play them sometimes in the movie theater, but I think that's probably the issue, because I don't know. I never get to see the shorts ever. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe that's my problem. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I never.
Honestly, unless it's a Pixar movie and the short plays before the film, you're right.
Yeah,
it's really hard to find those short films. Yeah,
it's always fun whenever you. Because usually for the animated shorts, I see most of those. So I'm like, it's fun whenever I see it. I'm like, oh, okay, so I know some of these. I either want this one or that one to win. But when it comes to like documentary shorts or just regular like live action shorts, I've never seen any of them. I don't know.
Gotcha.
So I think that's probably, they just need to make them more accessible.
Yeah, for sure. Our good friend Jared Buckendahl is in here, and he says, "What is your go-to fast food restaurant and order?" Who wants to start with this?
Me.
Yes.
Okay, if I hate myself and I don't care about anything, Taco Bell. I get a chicken quesadilla with extra zesty sauce, and then I get oh my god, they're not a chalupa. It's like the thing where it's a taco, but then it's like a quesadilla on the outside of your taco.
Cheesy gordita crunch.
Is it the
Cheesy
crunch?
gordita? It's the best. It's the best. I know all about that.
I substitute the beef for beans, because if I can't identify what part of the cow I think the beef is coming from, I don't want to eat it. And that's so I'll substitute the beans. And then like my happy place order is if I go to KFC, and literally anything as long as it involves mashed potatoes.
Okay. All right. Kristen, do you have a go-to?
Yeah. So I try not to eat fast food, but when I do, it's probably McDonald's. And
sure, yeah.
it's probably a number 2, which is the 2 burgers but no cheese. Like 2 cheeseburgers, but I don't want the cheese. And then large fries. And if I'm being real crazy, maybe I'll get a milkshake. Or one of those what is it? Is it flurry at McDonald's?
McFlurry.
Yeah.
But that's only if I'm being real crazy. So I don't think I've had McDonald's though in like over a year. I've been trying to, be healthy.
No,
but,
I totally get that.
But the McDonald's fries, so good.
So good.
They are really good. There is something weird about that. They are just like incredibly good. There's so much. I know. I feel like you need to just like.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, I feel like you need to chug like a gallon of water afterwards. Like it's ridiculous. Tyler, I think I know your go-to because it's probably the same as mine. But if we're not talking that one, what is your go-to?
I mean, usually when there's not, the world's open, I go to Chipotle like 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's
like
not
100%.
That's not fast food.
It's fast casual. Yeah,
I think it has to have a drive-through.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, Chipotle, get some drive-thrus up and running because we'll be there. We'll be there. Okay, yeah. So outside of Chipotle, then.
I like Taco Bell's really good, but I guess I'd probably go with that. But to be different, Cane's is good. Raising Cane's.
Yeah, I've never had that.
I haven't either.
Really?
Dude,
Wow, it's really good. You love it.
Where are you guys from? I'm not sure if maybe it's a local, like you're in your area, because I don't think it's in New York, or at least I've never seen it.
I eat it when I'm with my family in Texas, but I live in Chicago.
Yeah, they're all in the. There's a lot in the South, and here in LA, I think there's only like 2. Like nobody ever knows what it is when I bring it up.
That's so good. Dude, there's Texas
love
toast,
it.
bro.
Oh, and I get 2 slices every time. It's so good.
Texas toast. Yeah. I think for me, it's. Gosh, I don't even know. Probably, I don't know. Probably Chick-fil-A, I guess. I just like I like the nuggets. Like
Best
it's just.
nuggets, bro. Best
Yeah, I
nuggets.
know.
Really good.
It's just like it's so hard because I love them, and I just want to eat them
breaded
all
or
the time.
grilled?
I mean I switch. I alternate. The regular ones are better, but if I like don't want to feel guilty, I'll get the grilled ones.
Okay,
you
but
know?
what's
So
your
it's like
sauce choice? Because that's kind of like the make or break argument.
Yeah. No. for sure.
Kaleena, what about Taco Cabana?
Dude, they started shutting down in Texas. I think they're physically
Really?
making people ill.
Oh man, I love them.
Everyone I know gets, like mad diarrhea. When they get
Oh my god.
I would still eat it. It's really good.
Yeah, their breakfast
Texas
tacos are
thing.
good. I buy the case of like 25 and just bring it to work in the morning, so that way I just have food
That's awesome.
all day. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good question. Thank you, Jared. Okay. Deep in the film score. Favorite Tarantino character: Hans Landa and Django are mine. Are we talking about just like your favorite written one, or I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. Anyways, Kaleena, go ahead.
How bad is it that I immediately want to say Cliff Booth? I know that's so.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Cliff, and it has a lot to do with Brad, and I kind of imagine maybe the question is supposed to be a little bit more inspired by like the writing and development of the character by Tarantino and any collaborators. But I mean, goddamn, I would watch an 8-hour movie just about Cliff and the nonsense he was getting into. Whether or not he murdered his wife is like somehow of no mind to me. I'm just indifferent to whether or not he's a murderer. And then if I'm going for one that's more based on like merit, I really do like the character of the bride that Uma and Quentin developed together. Even though Kill Bill is kind of like middle of the list Tarantino for me, I think it was really important, especially in like early 2000s, to have such a prominent kind of leading female character. I think that kind of helped change the industry a little bit.
For sure. Kristen?
To be honest, I don't think I have enough knowledge of all of the movies and characters to really give a strong answer. So
no, that's fair.
I'll let you guys take it. I'll let you guys go on for next.
Tyler, is yours Cliff as well?
I mean, I really want to say Cliff, but I love Dr. King Schultz from Django, so I probably have to go Dr. King Schultz. I really love that character so much, and hearing Tarantino talk about possibly bringing, I don't know if he talked about bringing them back, but like writing books about their adventure, like that sounds so cool to me.
I would read the shit out of that, dude.
Yeah, those two are great. Django and King Schultz are great, but I'd probably go King Schultz actually.
Yeah, that's I really like. I mean, obviously a horrible person, but like I love Hans Landa so much. Yeah. Just like it's not only the way he's written, but like Christoph Waltz just acts his ass off and like earned that Oscar. So, yeah, sure, I'd go with that. Okay. So let's see. Chazza Wesden asks, "What movies do you think will be up for Oscars this year?" Kristen, let's start with you. Do you have an idea?
I mean, it's like, what movies have even come out?
I know. It's like, yeah.
But I do think that I could see maybe a film like Onward being nominated for animated film. I could see maybe Birds of Prey. I'm trying to think of what other films have come out this year. Maybe Invisible Man. I mean, that was a great one. That I think could maybe be up for some things. I think those are the ones that I'm thinking of right now. So yeah.
Did you see The Way Back, Ben Affleck's movie?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I mean I think you can make a strong case for Ben for Best Actor, but I don't know if the movie as a whole is like an Oscar film. But I think him at least. Yeah.
I think he functions in it, but I think the movie itself was pretty forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking movies that have only come out this year, I would say I think Elizabeth Moss has a really great shot between Invisible Man and Shirley. Yeah. So I really think she's probably going to get a nomination, hopefully. And like Kristen said, Onward. I really hope he gets a Best Animated feature Oscar
Yeah, that
nomination.
was a good one.
It's really good.
For sure. Kaleena.
So what I mean,
Well, okay, but it has to come out. It still has to come out.
it doesn't mean I don't think it's going to be award winning. Okay, Chris Pine wears a windbreaker jacket. That in itself deserves an Oscar nomination. Okay, no, I agree with your guys' choices, and we're not talking about like Tenet or No Time to Die or anything that we think are coming out. We're just talking about already released.
Yeah, I guess like what are the front runners like right now? You know.
Yeah, I personally was really underwhelmed by Onward, so I don't have like a personal campaign behind it, but I don't think the Academy will not nominate a Pixar film, especially with two, Marvel sweethearts. So yeah, I agree. I think Elizabeth Moss is definitely the, actress frontrunner for sure. Invisible Man was good. We kind of touched on this last week. I'm trying to think what else came out. We barely got into this year, we were like, were we even 12 weeks in to the movie year? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now it's like we're 6 months into the year, and it's like, wait, but really, what did drop?
Yeah.
I really liked Birds of Prey more so than most of the people I know. So I would love to, if nothing else, like VFX or something. Just,
I think they had a lot of great visuals.
If Suicide Squad gets to call itself an Oscar-nominated film, then goddamn it, Birds of Prey should too, and that's my final answer.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I think you guys kind of touched on the big ones. I mean, for me, it's like Invisible Man. That's like it's.
Did we lose him? Is it
It's that like?
okay.
No, I'm still here. Is it good? It glitched out. Yeah. Anyways, I would have been championing, Invisible Man at the end of the year regardless, but like,
Every time.
How
about every time he freezes, we freeze too, so it's like in unison.
Yeah, no.
Am I glitching?
Yeah.
You are.
Am I glitching?
Yeah.
But we agree with you. We agree with everything you said.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen. Okay, that's fine. We'll move on. Sorry for the glitching, guys. Okay, so Zai sends us a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. He says, am I glitching again?
No,
No,
you're good.
No.
Yes. Okay. No. Okay. Oh, okay. He says one's got to go. Wall-E, Toy Story, The Incredibles, and Up. This is really easy for me. I'm not a big fan of Up, so I'd say Up gets the boot.
Buy Up.
Yeah.
With your balloons.
That's so funny because I was gonna say it's easy for me. I didn't really care that much about The Incredibles.
What?
I know.
No.
This is what I say to myself too, because I love superhero movies, but for some reason, like I just could care less about The Incredibles. I don't know why.
That's fair.
Ass is like half the appeal of the movie. It's so good. And Jack, come on.
You're breaking my heart here. Gosh. No, but okay. So you said The Incredibles, and then everyone else is Up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't think after the opening montage, it's just nothing reaches the heights of that. It just actually becomes kind of forgettable and bad. So
and
there's my take of
for as sad as the parts get, that's one of those films that you really kind of only want to watch once. I've literally never thought about wanting to watch Up since it came out.
Yeah,
why would
that's
I
true.
want to put myself through that again?
Yeah, no. I think that's a good point. Yeah, for sure. Okay, looking through more questions here. Okay, Colin Williams is in here. Thanks for joining, man. He says most forgettable MCU and DCEU movie.
Is forgettable different than bad?
Yes, it can't be. Well, I mean, I guess it could be bad if it is really truly awful and forgettable. But some movies are just so bad that they're infamous,
Right,
So
because y'all know how I feel about Captain Marvel, but that's not necessarily the most forgettable MCU movie. So I want to come to a group conclusion on what would our difference be here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just a movie you don't even think of when someone says the MCU or the DCEU. But Kristen, we're gonna start with you. So do you have a pick for either of these?
Yeah, I guess I'd say the ones that I kind of not that they're bad, but that I kind of forget about is probably Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. I kind of feel I forget about those when we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, they're not bad movies. It's just I don't know if they're necessarily on par with some of the other ones where you're this is my favorite of all time. And then for DC films, I mean, I guess I would just more say like I said, I don't really like Man of Steel. I don't know if I would say that
Sure.
they're like forgettable, but I didn't really like that one. Actually, to be honest, for me, the Marvel or the DC movies that I really like the most, I guess, is only like 2 or 3 of them, and to me, I'm just kind of like maybe just not a fan of the more of like the, I guess, the character we're following. You know, like. Sure. I'm not necessarily a Superman fan, so then it's like not as easy for me to like necessarily get into the movie. Not that they're bad, just that.
No, I totally get what you're saying for sure. And that's a good point bringing up Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is such just like an unremarkable movie. Like it just kind of like happened, and it left. So yeah, no, I think that's a good pick for sure. Tyler, what's your pick for this?
Yeah, kind of forgettable. And this does not mean I don't like the movie. It's not even my least favorite in the MCU, but The Incredible Hulk. And I only say that because it's Ed Norton plays the Hulk, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. I really like that movie, but I always forget it's a part of the MCU just because Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk. But still, I mean, really good movie. I really like it. But I would say that's probably the most forgettable for MCU. Then DCU, I mean, probably it's either Justice League or Suicide Squad. Those are both pretty bad movies. So
yeah. I think the only issue when it comes to like Justice League is like because there's like the Snyder cut thing.
I know
like,
that's why I can't stay because like it's so.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like for as bad as Suicide Squad is, it's like infamously bad. So I wouldn't say it's, for me at least, I don't think it's necessarily forgettable. But I think for me, I would say the most forgettable MCU is gosh, that's tough. Honestly, probably Iron Man 2. I mean,
I almost said
like,
that, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like The Incredible Hulk's also good. Doctor Strange is good. Thor: The Dark World is not only like awful, it's just like I couldn't even tell you like what happened in that film. And then for DC, as as good as the movie is, Shazam, I always forget that Shazam like came out.
That's fair.
Oh, I love that. That's probably my favorite one.
No, well, you're totally not alone. Like, yeah, I get it. It's definitely like outside of maybe Wonder Woman, it might be like the best made movie in the DCEU for sure. So like,
that's the weird thing because I really love Shazam too. Like it's great, but I always forget about it. I don't know why. I don't know why
either. Yeah,
maybe it's just because the other people are, it's like people that we know of, like the Justice League, like people that we follow so much all the time that like there's been so many TV shows and movies about them, whereas like Shazam kind of felt a little bit like, oh, this is the first time we're seeing this person, sort of like
that's fair. Yeah.
Sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like this is the first time we're really seeing them unless we follow the comics, whereas like yeah.
Because I want a Shazam sequel so bad.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
for sure. Kaleena, do you have what are your picks for this one?
Yeah, I mean, no one's answer is wrong, but it's hard because, like you were saying, even things that are notably bad, they're not forgettable because they're being spoken about for being bad. I think Doctor Strange is a good choice. I like Doctor Strange. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago because I'm like, I think this movie is better than everyone remembers it, and it is. Like, it's good, but I just generally don't love Benedict Cumberbatch, and sometimes I just find him like snarky in a not charming way. Like Robert's Iron Man is snarky in a charming way, and Benedict's Doctor Strange to me just comes off as snarky, and so I almost don't really like watching him. Like I kind of become indifferent to what's happening to him. But yeah, I think like because of my feelings about Thor and Thor 2 and my feelings about Captain Marvel, I can't say they're forgettable to me. Like I forget to account for them. So I think I would probably say Doctor Strange, and then for the DCEU, I don't have memorized like I do for the MCU what's considered in or outside of the DC. So like is Daredevil part of the DCEU?
No. Like Daredevil is like
that's like, Marvel. That's Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So like DCU is like Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, Suicide Squad.
It's not.
Yes, it's all the new stuff. Not like the.
I thought for some reason I thought it went on longer than I thought.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like Suicide Squad and Justice League, there's too much just coverage around them to say it's forgettable. So I think I would agree with your take on Shazam. I also love Shazam. It was in my top 10 the year it came out. I thought it was great, but yeah, I do kind of like forget that's part of it. And I think because it was so refreshing and tonally so different that I think kind of consider it like its own superhero movie and forget it's actually part of a larger franchise. So I think I'd agree with your guys' answers.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think the more we talked about it, actually, I kept thinking Aquaman. I don't,
Oh yeah.
like maybe that's the one that's for me the most forgettable DCU actually, because, you know, I don't know. I just feel like are people talking about it? None of us talked about it, so maybe that was the one.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, I actually quite enjoyed Aquaman, but it was like one of those ones where it's like it stuck out just because of how like pulpy and like just fun it was and like kind of silly. Also, like the Pitbull song in the middle of it.
That's it. That's what I think of every single time.
I know.
Which Pitbull song is it?
He did like he did a cover of Africa when they were like coming out of the water, and it played over this. It's not good.
And then Amber Heard eats a rose because she's a stupid fish and doesn't know that it's a flower. And
Oh, Aquaman. Oh, it's James Wan doing his best James Cameron impression. Okay, so Eddie S asks not movie related question. Which concert? Okay, so I guess it's just like what's your favorite concert that you've ever attended? We'll just go along those lines. Tyler, what's your pick for this one?
I go to a lot of concerts.
I know you're a concert fiend, man.
Dang, it's tough. There's a lot of great ACL Festival was fun. Hangout Festival was fun. But most recently, I would say I feel so lucky to have been able to see The Lonely Island. They went to Austin and Moody at the ACL Moody.
yes.
Oh, were you there? Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was second row.
I was on the barricade.
I nearly attempted to break up Andy Samberg's marriage in real time.
Yeah, that was just surreal.
Really, like I put a lot of thought into like, does he really love Joanna and his kid, or can I just kind of swoop my way in there in the middle of this concert?
But wasn't it great? Like it wasn't cheesy at all. Like it felt like they'd been
Oh my
doing
god,
it
if
for
Chris
years.
showed up for Lazy Sunday, bro, I started crying.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was, really fun. So
I'm so mad that you were there and I didn't know.
I know, it's crazy.
I've heard people like rave about the Lonely Island concerts before, so like that doesn't
It's a very sexually charged show.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
You're not prepared to feel as attracted to Andy Samberg as you do. Like something kind of just starts happening to you, and you're like, oh, I guess this is just like where we're at with it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Kristen,
Kristen, what's your
age? It's crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Wait, well, how old are they?
I think they're all in their 40s.
Oh, they're all in their 40s. Okay.
They're pretty young though.
Interesting.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're babies.
All right. Kristen, what's your pick? What's your favorite concert that you've gone to?
Okay, so the artist that I've seen the most in concert is actually Tori Kelly. I love her so much. I just love like insane vocals. So she's the artist I've seen the most, and she just always kills it. Like she sounds like the album every time, you know.
Yeah.
But I would say one of the most fun concerts I've ever went to was I saw O-Town a couple of years ago. And it's like, wait, they're still together, like doing stuff. And it was just something that you just like, you just felt like so drawn to them, you know, and just remembering those old songs. And they played a couple new songs. And I was like, am I a stan now? Like, am I obsessed with O-Town? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
So that one was actually a really funny one. It was in like such a small theater. And it's like, nobody really cares about this, but like we were living our best lives.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's like sometimes the ones where it's like you don't even think about. You just kind of go to it and you just go crazy. It's like those are sometimes the best experiences because like you're just having a good time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kaleena, what is yours? The Lonely Island as well?
No. So Lonely Island is part of my shuffle of 2 through 5. So in my shuffle is Lonely Island, Tony Bennett, who I've seen like 3 or 4 times and is my second favorite singer of all time behind Sinatra. Hugh Jackman in concert was amazing, and he showed clips from his movies during the concert, and so I had this out-of-body experience where I'm like, I'm in a room with Hugh Jackman watching movies with Hugh Jackman and then he did like the Wolverine thing, and it was like a whole thing. I was front row for Billy Joel and got to shake his hand at the end of the concert. That was amazing.
Awesome.
But my number one forever was seeing Hans Zimmer in concert. And
thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Hans Zimmer in concerts. There is nothing like it. It is an unforgettable experience.
I'm going to find these photos for you while we're talking, because
yeah.
the moment that I found out, I was at work and I got like an alert on my phone that he was coming to town. And this is a candid photo of when I physically dropped to the ground, like as if I was being killed, because I found out that he was coming. But I mean, hearing the Wonder Woman score in person was like, oh my, like it was electrifying, and kind of going through the best of, and it was really him there. He was like conducting and he was having a great time. But then he finished out with like a single spotlight of him on the piano doing Time, which is probably maybe my favorite score of all time outside of the park. And I was just a disgusting, embarrassing mess, and it was
I agree. It's such an emotional experience. It's like he's going through like all these songs. You're just like, oh my God, like the work of Hans Zimmer is just like unbelievable. I mean, he's like playing Pirates, and it's like a fucking rock concert. It's like what is happening, right? Like it's amazing. So yes, Hans Zimmer is definitely like top 3 for sure. I think for me, the two that I always go back to, I'm a massive fan of the 1975. They're my favorite band, so it's like seeing them in concert is amazing. Not only because they're really good performers, but they sound like the album, and the light show that goes with them is amazing. And then I had a really, really weird and random experience, but like one that's just unforgettable because they're two just like masterful performers, was when Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z toured together, because they both had those albums that came out. So I saw both of them. That was just like, that'll never happen again. So it's just like being able to see that and like see like, you know, them playing like the hits and just like the show and the spectacle. It's just like, and they're both just like masterful performers. So it's, oh my God, I love it. I love that concert
found
for
it.
sure.
Can y'all
found
see
it?
I collapsed to the floor.
You collapsing on the floor. Perfect.
This is my actual face. I don't know if y'all can see. It's like my mouth is open, but I literally, my legs are like bent backwards. You can't really tell in the photo, but I had to have someone physically help me up off the ground. my body just surrendered to that moment, and it was great.
That's good. Okay, we're gonna start wrapping things up here, guys, a little bit. So make sure to send in your questions. If you want your question immediately answered, you can use the super chat. It also supports the channel, but it is not required. So okay, next one here, real quick. Favorite black and white movie. And that it does not have to be a classic film. I guess it is just like solely like it can be black and black and white. So Tyler, let's start with you.
I mean, I hate it's so recent, but I love Roma. It might
I
be
knew
Roma.
you were gonna say it.
I'm sorry. I really like it so much, and yeah, I'll probably go with Roma.
Yeah, Kristen, what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna kind of like take liberties with black and white movie and say Pleasantville.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Great
Oh my God. That's a really good choice. Holy crap! Yeah,
I think that's just a really good movie. A lot of great people in it, and I mean, there's some black and white in it. So
yeah. No, that's an amazing pick. Kaleena, what is your pick?
Hey Tyler, was your favorite shot in Roma when the dog shit gets really beautifully run over by the car tire?
How'd you know?
Is that your favorite part of the black and white? Okay. I went with, I saw this question earlier and started, like, I was looking at movies that immediately came to mind to make sure that they were accurate. I didn't want to go with something like Casablanca. I didn't want to go with something too famous. So I'm going to go with Paul Newman's HUD, which is a great,
HUD is a good one.
Great underrated film. Fun fact, Matthew McConaughey's dog is named HUD after this movie. I don't know, anything like Paul Newman just in general and eternally, but
that's a you should. It's great. Yeah, it's really good. This is tough for me because it's like I love the Universal monster movies. I love like classic film noir. I love Hitchcock's earlier stuff. So I don't I mean, for me, like I watch it once a year. It always gets to me, and I think Jimmy Stewart is just immaculate in it. And I mean, it's a Wonderful Life. I think it's just, yeah. I mean, it just yeah. I mean, it's a classic. It still holds up today. It's just like, I don't know. I absolutely adore that film. So I think that's the one that I go back to for sure. So
I think my second choice would be Kubrick's Paths of Glory with Kirk Douglas. I don't know if
that's
y'all have seen it or revisited it, but I spent like 6 weeks studying it this past semester, going to extreme depth, and it is masterful. And especially when you consider how early it is in Kubrick's career, and that he only got better after that, it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. No, but I agree. That one, and then also, like, Doctor Strangelove is amazing for sure. And then crap, what am I blanking? I mean, well, I'll just give like some film noir ones. I mean, like Maltese Falcon, The Big Sleep. I love.
So good.
I think that's Big Sleep is amazing. So yeah, no, thanks for the question. That was a good one. Okay, Dennis S. Thoughts on Arrival? It's my favorite movie of all time. Kristen, do you want to start with this one?
I don't think I saw Arrival. Which one is it? Which one?
The one with Amy Adams. It was the Denis Villeneuve movie.
No.
Jeremy Renner was in it.
With Jeremy Renner.
No, I actually haven't seen that one. So.
Oh my god.
That's okay. Kaleena, what are your thoughts on Arrival?
GOAT, right? It's amazing. It's
a good movie. Yeah.
One of Denis' finest. It's not my favorite Denis film. Actually, I think 2049 is probably my favorite Denis film. No, but Arrival is amazing. Also a film I studied extensively this past semester, and going over the script. What I will actually say is, for those that don't know, the film is based on like a 50-page short story. And it's written by a man, which is really surprising to a lot of people because of how much it's about like the relationship between the mother and the child. Actually, the story is way better than any adaptation of the film could ever be. But it's incredible. It goes without saying.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler?
No, I like Arrival. But man, not enough people talk about Prisoners. That's my favorite Denis movie. I wish more people talked about Prisoners.
Yeah. Prisoners was like
so good.
A hair shy of being a perfect film.
What is that hair?
It's perfect, but
what is the hair that is preventing?
What is the hair? I'm very curious.
Yeah.
And, I think there's just like it's a little bit in the pacing. And I think the story could have just been kind of enhanced and developed a little bit further. Because I think my tweet, if I pull it up from like when I left the theater, I think the tweet just said almost like almost hit the nail on the head. And I have not revisited it since it came out, and I really, really want to because I think it did well.
Yeah, I mean it's worth a rewatch if not just for like Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Paul Dano alone for sure. So, Arrival is amazing. It definitely hit me in the feels. When I saw it several times. It's not the Denis Villeneuve movie that I go back to a lot. I mean, I think it's incredibly powerful and definitely timely and whatnot. But I don't know. I like movies like Sicario. I just think kind of stuck with me a little bit more, or like Prisoners and Enemy and stuff like that. So it's like I love it. It's amazing. It's just like it's one that I haven't really thought about too much. But I mean, it's again. Amazing movie. So, okay, Zaya here with a super chat asking, what Oscar nomination made you so happy you wanted to do a backflip? A nomination in which you knew its chances weren't great, but it still got in. Tyler, let's start with you.
Yeah, so this will sadly probably be my last one because I have to go pick up a
That's fine. Yeah. I think we're only going to do one more after this, and then we'll wrap it up. So.
Okay. I'd probably say, one that I didn't think... Dude, I'd probably go PTA getting Best Director for Phantom Thread. Like, I did not expect that at all, and I love him so much. I was just so happy to see him get recognition because most of the time, Oscar nominations are pretty predictable. Like, there's very rarely like a really good surprise. I was hoping for like an Adam Sandler surprise or like an Uncut Gems, but
that would have been the one, man.
That would have been the one, like big time. But probably go PTA for Phantom Thread, probably. Yeah,
for sure, Kristen.
Yeah.
I would say one that just like made me really happy that I think, deserved it, and I think we all knew deserved it, is Parasite, and then to see all of the wins that it got, like towards the end, I'm like, oh my God, please, please, please. And then like just to see all the wins that it got, I think it's easily a movie that, maybe could have gotten overlooked because of, very, shallow things, but I was so glad that people did recognize like how great it was, and gave it like the recognition it deserved. I just thought it was one of the movies that I was like, it deserves it, and then it won all of the things that it deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Kaleena?
This does not apply to the second part of the question, but it's got to be Leo, man. I mean, there's literally a video of me running around my parents' neighborhood screaming because I was so scared. I knew, even though I don't think he should have won for Revenant, I think it was more like, oopsie, we fucked up and we have to finally give it to you, Oscar. I knew he was in the bag for it, and so the nomination wasn't just the nomination. It was, I know this is the year for him. The competition isn't so stacked that it's kind of going to kick him out. So Leo for me.
Yeah, this is tough because if we're talking about wins, it's a little more tricky. But I think when we're talking about nomination, just seeing Michael Keaton get nominated for Birdman,
yeah.
I mean, he should have won for Birdman, but like, I think just seeing him get nominated for that, it was really like, great just to see him because he kind of fallen off there for a little bit, and then Birdman is just like kind of, big comeback role. So
wait, shouldn't we say Black Panther collectively? Isn't that the most correct answer?
I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, because it's the
historical nomination.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there you go. There's a bunch of great choices there. But thank you so much for the super chat. We are going to close out on this final question. I can't remember where I saw it, but I know someone did ask this question. And it is A24 or Neon. Which distributor do you prefer? And I think it's interesting that it's a conversation about distributors because they don't necessarily have much bearing on like the product that we're getting, but they are the names behind some of like the most interesting projects coming out right now. I think like last year Neon had a historic year, and it's an absolute crime that Apollo 11 wasn't nominated for Best Documentary Feature. They had that, they had Loose, they had Parasite, they had I'm blanking on a whole bunch more, but there were like so many other films that got nominated. A24, I mean, my God, Waves, Uncut Gems, The Lighthouse.
Didn't Neon have I, Tonya too?
Yeah,
Neon was I, Tonya when that came out for sure. Yeah, so it's like both studios have like amazing films under their belt. So, Tyler, let's start with you for this one.
Yeah, I mean, A24 for sure. I mean, no doubt. I always look forward to seeing what their movies are going to be each year. But Neon's getting better each and every year. Like, they're going to be up there, I think, with A24 probably by, like, within the next 2 to 3 years. They're really making some power moves. So I go A24.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Kaleena?
A24. Yeah, that's my dream studio to work with. The day I get to make a movie that's distributed by A24, I'll probably just retire and call it a day.
Fair enough. Yeah. Kristen?
I think I also would go with A24. I think both of them have a lot of great films and projects that they've worked on. But when I look at A24, I feel like there's a couple more that I really, just like feel really strongly about. Like,
you resonate with,
The Farewell. They did Euphoria, just a lot of like really big hits that have, I feel like, I mean, Euphoria like was making changes and trends when it came to makeup, like that their films and projects kind of went beyond even just watching on screen necessarily, in certain cases. So, but I think both have great ones.
Yeah, I think this thing you're basically choosing between like two of the best like just studios and distributors out there right now. I think Neon's going to have an amazing year this year. I don't know what A24 is going to do because they seem to be holding off, because of the current like pandemic and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean they're two of the best distributors and studios in the business, and they're making the most interesting projects. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this Saturday live Q&A. Thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate all the questions. Thank you for the super chats if you left them. It's been great. Tyler, we're going to start with you. Where can everyone find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter by searching my name and Letterboxd, where log everything I watched. It's a lot of fun over on Letterboxd. So everyone.
What's your
should
most
definitely
recent
go.
Letterboxd log? What did you
Knives
watch?
Out. I watched it last night.
There you
It's
go.
okay. I think it's kind of overrated, but
Oh,
Thank you.
really?
Yes.
yeah, I don't know why. I
I
just think it's
liked
really. And most people did. Like I'm in the
Yes.
minority.
I think it was one of those ones when I watched it the first time, I was like, okay. And then when I watched it again, it was more fun to like try to piece together the mystery aspect. And that's kind of what I like about mysteries, was trying to just see like, how did they get there?
Yeah,
So-
No, yeah. Most people would agree with you for sure. Like I feel like I guess Kaleena and me, we're both in the minority, but I just think it's so slow. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just
see
think
that.
it takes forever to get going.
Predictable. Oh my god! I literally within the first 5 minutes, I leaned over to my friend and told him how the whole movie was going to go, and even said lines that the characters were going to say.
Really? Wow. Yeah, it's so good. Like I mean, I don't hate it, but it's just I wish I loved it as much as other people. I don't know.
I feel that.
Fair enough. Kristen, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank
Where
you.
can everyone find you on the internet?
I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/kmaldo. It's KAYMALDO. And then I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at kmaldo. So you can find me there, yeah.
Perfect. There you go. And Kaleena, thank you for joining us again. Where
Late.
can everyone find you? Late, but listen, you came in ready to go.
Ready to fight, yeah.
Super enthusiastic, ready to just like kick some ass and whatnot. Where
Yeah.
can everyone find you?
You can find me on the socials at Shut Up Kaleena, because I know my brand, you guys. I get it.
There you go, guys. Definitely be sure to give each and every one of them a follow, guys. They're amazing, and it's been a pleasure having them on here, as always. Guys, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the FilmSpeak channel for more, live streams such as this, more reviews, a whole bunch of great movie-related content. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, be sure to head on over to Facebook and Twitter. Just search FilmSpeak. You can like and follow us over there. And then if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that is going to do it for this Q&A, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Bond. James Bond.
This all day.
Did you rub my lamp?
1,000 generations to the Nina.
Here we go.